Oklahoma Republican Congressman Tom Cole. Congressman Cole, thanks for being with us during these holidays. Today on Morning Joe, you called the decision to abstain from the vote petty, but President Obama is hardly the first U.S. president to abstain or support a resolution critical of Israeli policy at the UN. 2003, I think George Bush's administration voted in favor of a resolution calling for a full settlement freeze. So how is this different?
I think it's different because it's extremely one-sided. If you actually read the resolution itself, it's not remotely, even-handed. And frankly, again, doing something like this at the very end, when you know something different is coming within a matter of weeks, there's just no particular reason to do it, particularly if the Israelis prove to be right. That is, if the United States actually colluded in this. So,
well, do you think, is there evidence? Do you have any evidence that suggests they did?
I don't. All I have is, the charges that the Israelis have made and said they're going to make evidence forthcoming, at least to the new administration. I made that clear.
And the White House insists it's not true.
But if they're right, then, well, that's certainly their right. But frankly, the record here, I think, is a pretty poor one in terms of Israeli security, whether it's the Iranian deal or some of the rhetoric that's been leveled at Prime Minister Netanyahu by the president himself. So, again, this is a good ally. We should not be in the position where we've got, frankly, not just Republicans, but Democrats as well, disagreeing with the president's decisions. And I mean, the incoming leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate, the former majority leader that you just had on, it's not as if this is partisan.
Congressman Cole, let me play devil's advocate for a moment. So the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, in effect said that friends don't take friends to the UN Security Council. But don't friends also have in some way an obligation at times to speak the truth to one another?
They do, but I think this is one where you have to look at it. It's a very complex situation. Look, the Israelis withdrew from the Gaza Strip unconditionally, and what they've gotten is literally thousands of rockets rained down on them from that part of the Palestinian territories. So I think they've got every reason to be somewhat skeptical here, but they've made it clear they're willing to sit down and go into negotiations unconditionally. That's the way that, by the way, they achieved peace with the Egyptians. They've shown they're willing to trade land for peace if they've got a willing partner. So far, frankly, it's the Palestinians who have been unwilling to sit down and negotiate. They want to have the negotiation and have a decision imposed on the Israelis. That's never going to happen, and frankly, it forestalls a discussion that could be productive.
Let's talk about the UN if we can for a second. Republicans spend a lot of time in bashing the United Nations. Mike Huckabee called it a joke. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton said it has failed to do much good in the world for a long time. How should the incoming Trump administration make the UN then a stronger force? What can they and should they do going forward?
I've lost the sound here, but if I understand the question, if you're getting what I have to say, frankly, I think you have to be pretty nuanced in how you look at the United Nations. It has done some good in the world. The Iranian elections were supervised by the UN. There's certainly a variety of humanitarian efforts, but there's also times when, frankly, it becomes sort of a breeding ground for anti-Western opinion that's, frankly, very unbalanced. So there's a lot of frustration here, and certainly American taxpayers have every right to demand an accounting when they're paying for almost a quarter of the total budget.
Congressman Tom Cole, who is joining us on this day. Congressman, thank you very much. We appreciate